After all the excitement of 7 of the 11 F1 liveries for 2026 coming out, I am so in the mood for F1 right now. But sadly, for me and for everyone else out there, it's still a little while away. So I've got to keep myself occupied somehow. So welcome back to the Zach GP channel, and technically we are doing the first F1 Fantasy video back on the channel. There will be more F1 Fantasy videos coming out from next week onwards, but I thought I would do a little fun video where I've actually done a few shorts on this as well, of turning standout drives throughout F1 history into F1 Fantasy points. So what I'm going to be doing is going through history, finding some historic drives and figuring out how many points they would have got in F1 Fantasy. Now, for the rules of this experiment, you do have to know I'm going off the F1 Fantasy 2025 rules and point scoring system. So even if it's a race from the 90s, 80s, 70s, etc., it will still be 25 points for first place. Driver of the day has to be taken with a pinch of salt, and there are some places I can do it, there's some I can't, because again, it wasn't a thing back then, so you sort of have to use your own savvy and be like, well, would they have got it? Yes. And if it's a little bit of a toss-up of who would have got it, then I just won't give it to anyone. Overtakes will be registered via a Reddit spreadsheet that has this whole database for all of the overtakes in F1 history. So I don't know how trustful this source is. However, because I'm going to be using this source for every single race that we talk about, it sort of adds the same margin of error for every race, so it's okay. Oh, and just for reference, the benchmark I will be using throughout this entire video for F1 Fantasy normal points is Verstappen's 2024 Brazil, because I believe, comment down below if you believe there's anything higher than that. It's hard to get the database for anything before 2023, but Verstappen got 77 points in Brazil, so if anything beats that, that is remarkable, because that is honestly one of the best F1 Fantasy point scoring weekends we've ever seen, probably will ever see in our lifetimes. But heading in at number 1, I've spoken about this race before, the 2011 Canadian Grand Prix. So what is it known for? Well, you know what it's known for. Jenson Button winning the longest race in F1 history. Arguably one of the craziest races as well. And yeah, well, I sort of gave it away, but Jenson Button definitely won that race. He didn't actually qualify that badly, qualifying 7th. However, the thing that made him pick up the points was everything else. The first place race result on the final lap of the race after taking Sebastian Vettel as he went wide. Positions gained, of course, like I mentioned, 6, nothing crazy. But overtakes made, this is where we get to some crazy results. 27. Of course, he was famous for taking multiple pit stops, going all the way to the back of the grid, having so much chaos in this race. No wonder he got so many overtakes, but that is so many points. He got more points for overtakes than he did on bleeding race results for winning the race. Then the fastest lap, who would have guessed? Of course, Jenson Button picked that one up as well, getting an extra 10 points. And driver of the day, this is one where I can hands down just tell you straight up, yeah, we don't even need to argue about this. Jenson Button, without a doubt, would have won Driver of the Day if it was a thing back then, so he gets those 10 points in F1 Fantasy as well. And all of this total combined gives an estimated points of 82. Yeah, we've started off basically with one of the strongest, if not the strongest ones out there. So I did tell a little bit of fib saying Verstappen's couldn't be beaten, but wow, what a race! What points? 82! That's 164 if you 2 times him. And if you gave him extra DRS, well, let's do a little bit of quick maths here. 246. What? Can anyone else beat this for the rest of the video? I think it's going to be hard. And now heading into another infamous race. However, I don't actually think it's going to be high points scoring, and that is the 2010 Abu Dhabi race. Of course, infamous for having 4 championship contenders of Vettel, Alonso, Webber and Hamilton, so I will be getting all of the points for all of those drivers and seeing who would have actually got the most points. And hey, let's figure out together. Definitely not getting in at 82 points though. So Vettel qualified first, and he actually went on to win the race, giving him instantly 35 points. However, positions gained 0 points, overtakes actually 0, it's Abu Dhabi, so I'm not surprised to see that there. Fastest lap, did he get it? No, that went to Lewis Hamilton, so you know where 10 points is going later on. And driver of the day, we can safely say driver of the day would have been Sebastian Vettel. Because after a race like that, 100% without a doubt, clinching the championship, yeah, he would have got driver of the day. I would have voted for driver of the day if it was a thing back then for him as well. So that leaves Sebastian Vettel on 45 points. What can Alonso do? Well, I can tell you this, Alonso did not do well. This one hurts just as much as him losing the championship. He qualified third, getting 8 points. Race results-wise, he finished 7th, so he gets 6 points there. Positions gained, he loses 4 points, so that's -4. Didn't get any overtakes, no fastest lap points, and no driver of the day. So he would have ended on a total of 10 points. That's less than some of the midfield drivers would have got. That's less than Nico Rosberg or Petrov would have got. That is horrible for Alonso. And it wouldn't get much better for Webber because he was even worse. He qualified 5th, getting 6 points. But 8th in the actual race, getting 4 points up to 10. Positions gained/loss. He lost 3 positions, losing -3 points. 1 overtake to help him a little bit out. But that only puts up his tally to 8 points. Not good at all. But can Lewis Hamilton put a little bit of a fight up to Sebastian Vettel? We know he got the fastest lap, but sadly for Lewis Hamilton, he couldn't match Sebastian Vettel this time out. In qualifying, he would have got 9 points for coming second. Again, race results second, 18 points. No positions gained, 1 overtake in the race. Plus the 10 points for driver of the day, he would have got 38 points. So actually a really low scoring season finale if we put it into F1 fantasy terms. And it's nowhere near the likes of 24 Brazil or 2011 Canada. So this is much more of a better foundation, I guess, for everyone else to spring up on. But to be fair, I say that, 45 points, I would not be saying no to that. It's nothing special for F1 fantasy terms considering just how crazy the race was in real life. Japan 2005. And mainly Kimi Raikkonen, although we will be talking about Fernando Alonso as well. This is the infamous race. I've said infamous about 10 times. Take a shot every time I've said infamous. This is the race where Kimi Raikkonen would actually qualify 17th and go all the way to winning the race, overtaking Fisichella in the dying embers of the race for that race lead. And oh my God, I wish I could remember it. Technically, I would have been 2 years old. I'm not going to act like I was watching the race. I might have been on someone's lap or something watching the TV because I know for a fact they would have been watching the F1, but I ain't got a clue what went on in person. But by watching the highlights and watching the race back, I can tell you that, of course, Kimi Raikkonen won the race, getting 25 points there, 0 points for that 17th place qualifying position. Positions gained 16, so he gets 16 points for that. Overtakes made, he gets 6, so not half bad, but again, it's Japan, so I'm not expecting anything crazy there. Fastest lap, he ended up picking up himself, so an extra 10 points there. And without a shadow of doubt, it's another one where we can easily give him driver of the day 10 points because I would have voted for him, everyone would have voted for him. It was an insane race. And that actually leaves him on 67 points. Don't say it. Don't say it. Which is actually really good. I think because I have bloated the scores with Verstappen and Button already, 67 doesn't seem like a lot. But if anyone in today's F1 Fantasy points got 67 points, we would all be going through the roof ecstatic about that. Because yeah, that's 134 points for the 2 times. However, he wasn't the only one to actually have a terrible qualifying and go on to have a good race, as Fernando Alonso would qualify 16th, getting 0 points. But race results-wise, he would finish on the podium 3rd, getting 15 points there. Positions gained, he'd get 13, of course, going from 16th to 3rd. Overtakes made 7, so 1 more than Kimi Raikkonen. No fastest lap and no driver of the day points, however, so he would only end up on 35. But again, that is still pretty good considering he was only 3rd place. Then heading into another Sebastian Vettel race results, and well, we're heading to the 2012 Brazilian Grand Prix. So this was the season finale where Alonso and Vettel battled it out for the championship, and of course I'm expecting a lot of points because, as we know, Vettel would actually spin out on the first lap and have to re-overtake most of the field. So what can he do? Well, I'll leave that for a moment and check up on Alonso. Alonso would qualify in 8th, getting 3 points. Race result wise, he'd finished 2nd, getting an extra 18. Positions gained 6, going from 8th to 2nd. Overtakes made 9. So actually still a lot of overtakes, but again, it's Brazil, so I'm not surprised that a lot of people got loads of overtakes. Fastest lap was Lewis Hamilton, so 0 points for both Vettel and Alonso. And driver of the day, this is the first one that I actually am not confident on who would have got driver of the day, so it's 0 points for Alonso, giving him 35 points overall. Again, nothing major. And for Vettel, realistically, his overtakes made would have saved him. Qualifying results 4th, 7 points there. Race result only 6th, getting 8 points, so we're up to 15. However, positions gained/lost, he would have got -2, so he would have lost 2 points. But overtakes made, he had 25, of course, basically re-overtaking the entire field. And that would save his entire points for that 2012 Brazilian Grand Prix because he wouldn't pick up fastest lap or driver of the day. Maybe he would have got driver of the day, but I'm not confident between him and Alonso who would have got it. I mean, would one of them even have got it? There was other standout drives in that race. I'm going to just leave that up to debate and not give anyone those points, meaning Vettel would get 38 points. Again, not crazy when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, but considering just how chaotic that race was, and he only finished 6th. Then heading into another one that I have mentioned before because I've made an entire video on it, and it is the 1983 Long Beach Grand Prix. And we're going to be specifically talking about John Watson. Now, this is where I can't really use the overtakes made database, annoyingly. So I'm going to have to go off what I saw on the highlights, plus what I've heard about the race, which is going to start getting very, very sketchy, which is why I really have to stress now more than ever. Estimated F1 Fantasy points. John Watson would actually qualify 22nd. There was so many cars on the grid back in the day, but he would finish first place. So yeah, he'd go 22nd to first, the only F1 driver to do that, getting 25 points. Positions gained, 21, so another 21 points here. Overtakes made, I believe it is 14. It's hard to tell, but from watching the highlights, seeing who DNF'd before he got to them, I believe it is 14 points. And fastest lap doesn't go to him, it actually goes to Niki Lauda, who gets that extra 10 points. But 100% driver of the day, again, not up for debate, I don't think. John Watson would have got it if it existed in the 80s, giving him a whopping 70 points. So all of a sudden, we are back up and running. What a points tally. It beats Kimi Raikkonen in Japan, goes solidly second in the historic races, and just behind that benchmarker of Max Verstappen. Absolutely incredible. Then heading into a race just before the turn of the century in 1999, the European Grand Prix. And of course, if you did not know this, this would be where Johnny Herbert would actually win a Formula One race. And by the way, this is where my ideas of what happened in that race start to get a little bit sketchy. Because what the hell is going on? Qualifying 14th, fair enough. 0 points. Finished first, 25 points. That's fine. But positions gained 13 again, you know, just a little bit of maths. 14 minus 1, basically. I'm a genius over here. Overtakes made, 0. On the database, they have shown that there are 0 overtakes. Now, I'm almost 100% sure that can't not be true. That has to be not true. How is that possible? But I'm going to stick with it because I've stuck with it everywhere else. Fastest lap went to Mika Hakkinen, but driver of the day would have gone to Herbert. 100% he would have got driver of the day. So that does go for him, giving him a total of 48 points. But that race was ridiculous. Apparently just tyres were going left, right and centre. And he sort of just ended up in first place. Incredible. I wish I was alive to have seen that. And you know what? It's 100% a race I'm going to go watch the highlights of, because surely something mental would have happened if this 0 overtakes is right. But estimated points for F1 Fantasy, 48. Again, not too shabby. I'd be very, very happy if I got those points. Then heading into our penultimate race, we finish off the Sebastian Vettel trifecta at 2008 Monza, where of course he was still in the Toro Rosso, and he would get his first race win in F1, and it was brilliant. But again, it wasn't actually that high scoring in F1 Fantasy points, which, again, he did qualify first, getting those 10 points there, but you'd expected a little bit more. First place again, 25 points, so that's 35 points there. But he got 0 positions gained, 0 overtakes. Raikkonen got the fastest lap over him, so he would have only got driver of the day. Again, Vettel's first win, he would have got it 100%, meaning he would have only got, I say only, 45 points, but still, for such an iconic race result, 45 points, you'd think it'd be in the 50s by that point. And then finally, one last race to indulge in F1 Fantasy-wise is the 1998 Belgium Grand Prix. Of course, this is one of the most ridiculous races I have ever watched the highlights of, made a video on. It's the one where everyone basically forgot how to drive, and Michael Schumacher wanted to kill David Coulthard. But there were 2 names that actually stood out above the rest. Of course, Jordan's one and only 1-2. Let's start with Damon Hill, who actually won the race. Qualifying third, 8 points. Race results, 25 points. Positions gained, 2, so 2 points there. Overtakes, again, 0. Surely he would have got one on the first lap, but I don't know if it's counting all of the crashes and stuff. So we're just going to leave that like that. Fastest lap, Michael Schumacher, so no one there. And driver of the day, Damon Hill, 100%. getting that first place for Jordan, he would have got driver of the day, getting those extra 10 points. So he would have ended on 45 points again. Everyone loves ending on 45 points. But how can his teammate Ralf Schumacher do? Because Schumacher actually qualified lower down the grid, and he came back up to second. So he would have qualified 8, getting 3 points. Race results, he came second, getting 18 points. Again, positions gained 6, little mathematics there. Overtakes 0, again, I really doubt that. I'm going crazy looking at these stats at a minute. I'm like looking for their names, like where can they be? But hey, we're going to trust it again. If the source is wrong, the source is wrong for everyone, so that margin of error is there. And of course, fastest lap and driver of the day wouldn't have gone to him, which is a shame because if he got driver of the day, he would have beat Damon Hill by, well, technically 12 points. That would have been the swing between both of them. But he still ended up on 37 points considering he didn't win the race and he didn't get any overtakes. So, insane result for F1 Fantasy from him. And by the way, most of us would have had about a gazillion minus 20s in our teams or whatever it would have been. Imagine F1 Fantasy in the 70s when there's like 30 cars. A minus 30 for a DNF when they have one every day. Everyone would be struggling to score more than positive points. It'd all be in the negative. But anyway, here are all of the rankings put together for everyone who wants to see where they would have finished F1 Fantasy points-wise. Does that correlate with how fun the race was? 50-50. I don't think exactly. However, it kind of does for me because 2011 Canada, Jenson Button, what a race. But those are all of the standout drives in their F1 Fantasy points. Thank you all so much for watching. I can't wait for the F1 season start. I can't wait for F1 Fantasy as well. But have a great rest of your week, everyone, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.